If you're like me, you've probably struggled with cutting tile by hand at some point. It can be a real challenge to get clean, straight lines without the dust or noise of power tools. But I've recently discovered a game-changer in the world of manual tile cutting, the NYTFHMS hand tile cutter's manual tile cutting machine. I've been using it for a few weeks now, mostly on floor tiles for a bathroom remodel, and I have to say, it's held up better than I expected for something that doesn't plug in. Before I dive into the details, I want to let you know that you can check out this product on Amazon using the link in the description below. I'll be sharing my hands-on experience with this tool, and I think you'll find it really helpful in deciding if it's the right fit for your next project. First off, let's talk about the build quality of this manual tile cutter. I was pleasantly surprised to find that it's heavier than most manual cutters I've tried. It's not flimsy, which is really important when you're pressing down on a 12-inch tile. The frame feels solid, and the sliding rail moves smoothly without any wobble. That's crucial because if the rail isn't straight, your cut won't be either. I've used some cheaper manual cutters in the past that had a tendency to wobble or flex, which resulted in uneven cuts and a lot of frustration. But this NYTFHMS cutter has been a breeze to use, and I've been able to get consistent, accurate cuts every time. Another feature that's really impressed me is the cutting wheel. It's one of those replaceable carbide ones, and it stayed sharp through a bunch of cuts. I didn't have to force it, and it didn't chip the edges of the tile like some cheaper wheels can. That's a big deal if you're trying to get a clean finish without having to sand everything down afterward. I've lost count of how many times I've had to sand down uneven edges or chips in the tile, but with this cutter, I've been able to minimize that significantly. The replaceable wheel is also a big plus, as it means I won't have to replace the whole tool if it wears out. I've already ordered a spare wheel, just in case, and it's nice to know that I can easily swap it out when the time comes. I also want to mention the adjustable laser guide, which is a really clever feature. It's not a laser pointer, but it's a little metal guide that you slide to match your cut line. It helps keep the tile aligned as you push it through, which is especially useful when you're cutting multiple tiles to the same size. I lined up 4 floor tiles in a row and they all came out within a millimeter of each other, which is way better than my first attempts with a snap cutter. The guide is adjustable, so you can set it to match your specific tile and cut, and it's been a huge time saver for me. The 1000 mm length is another feature that's really stood out to me. If you're working with larger tiles or slabs, this cutter can handle them with ease. Most manual cutters max out around 600 mm, so this one can handle bigger pieces without you having to reposition. I used it on some 24-inch tiles and it worked fine, though you do need a little extra table space to support the tile as it slides through. It's nice to have the flexibility to work with larger tiles, and this cutter has made it possible for me to take on projects that I might have otherwise avoided. The handle is also ergonomic, which might seem like a small thing, but it makes a big difference when you're using the cutter for an extended period. It's got a rubber grip, so your hand doesn't slip even if it's a little damp from cutting wet tiles. That might sound minor, but after an hour of cutting, it makes a difference. I've found that I can work for longer periods without getting tired or experiencing discomfort in my hand, which is a big plus. Now, it's not perfect. The first time I set it up, I had to adjust the laser guide because it was slightly off-center. That's an easy fix, but it's something to check right away. Also, if you're cutting really thick porcelain tile, you might need to go slow. The wheel can handle it, but the tile itself can crack if you rush. I've learned to take my time when cutting thicker tiles, and it's paid off in the end. For the price, I think it's a good value. It's not the cheapest manual cutter out there, but it's not overpriced either. If you're in the market for a manual tile cutter and want something that'll last through a few projects, this one's worth a look. I've been really impressed with its performance, and I think you will be too. So, if you're ready to take your tile cutting to the next level, be sure to check out this NYTFHMS manual tile cutter using the link below.